Stepmom forces stepdaughter to marry a beggar, but she's got no idea who he really is. The Sterling mansion stood as a monument to wealth and privilege, a sprawling estate nestled amidst the manicured lawns and towering oaks of the prestigious Westchester County. Within its opulent walls resided Eleanor van der Linde, a woman who embodied the epitome of elegance and sophistication. Her perfectly coiffed blonde hair, manicured nails, and designer wardrobe were a testament to her refined taste and social standing. However, beneath the veneer of grace and charm lay a heart as cold and calculating as the diamonds that adorned her slender fingers. Eleanor had married Richard Sterling, a successful businessman and widower, with the calculated precision of a chess master. She saw in him a gateway to a life of luxury, a means to secure her position in high society. However, her ambitions extended beyond mere material wealth. She craved power, control, and the unwavering adoration of her husband. But there was an obstacle, a constant reminder of Richard's past happiness, a thorn in Eleanor's side. His daughter, Amelia. This resentment festered within Eleanor, transforming into a venomous desire to humiliate and break Amelia's spirit. She saw Amelia's happiness as a threat to her own ambitions, her own desire for control. She wanted to mold Amelia in her own image, to strip her of her individuality and force her to conform to her own twisted standards. Amelia, despite her stepmother's constant criticisms and subtle cruelties, remained resilient. She excelled in her studies, finding solace in the world of books and knowledge. She volunteered at a local homeless shelter, her compassionate heart drawn to those less fortunate. And she maintained a close circle of loyal friends, their unwavering support a shield against her stepmother's negativity. Her father, blinded by his love for Eleanor and his desire for a harmonious family life, remained oblivious to the subtle war raging beneath his roof. He saw Eleanor as a loving stepmother, a woman who had brought joy and stability back into his life after the devastating loss of his wife. He failed to see the subtle jabs, the manipulative comments, the calculated attempts to undermine Amelia's confidence. Eleanor, however, was not content with mere subtle jabs. She craved a grand spectacle of humiliation, a way to crush Amelia's spirit and solidify her own position as the undisputed queen of the Sterling household. An opportunity presented itself in the form of Amelia's burgeoning romance with William Hawthorne, the son of a prominent family and a young man with a promising future. William was everything Eleanor desired for her own son from a previous marriage, Charles. He was handsome, intelligent, and heir to a vast fortune. She saw in him a perfect match for Charles, a way to elevate her own son's social standing and secure his future. Seeing Amelia's blossoming love with William as a threat to her own ambitions, Eleanor hatched a wicked plan. She would force Amelia to break off her relationship with William and, in his place, become engaged to a beggar, a man of no social standing, a spectacle that would ruin Amelia's reputation and ensure her social ostracization. She envisioned the headlines, the gossip, the whispers of disapproval that would follow Amelia. She relished the thought of Amelia's humiliation, her downfall a testament to Eleanor's own power and control. One crisp autumn afternoon, with the sun casting long shadows across the manicured lawns of the Sterling estate, Eleanor summoned Amelia to her lavishly decorated study. The room was a testament to Eleanor's refined taste, with its antique furniture, plush carpets, and walls adorned with priceless artwork. "Amelia, darling," she began, her voice dripping with faux affection, "I believe it's time we had a little chat about your future." Amelia, sensing the underlying malice in her stepmother's tone, braced herself for the inevitable confrontation. She had learned to recognize the subtle shifts in Eleanor's demeanor, the glint of cruelty in her eyes, the tightening of her lips that betrayed her true intentions. "Of course, Eleanor," she replied, her voice calm and composed, her posture betraying no hint of the apprehension she felt. "Your father and I have been discussing your relationship with William Hawthorne," Eleanor continued, her eyes gleaming with a cruel amusement, as if she were enjoying a private joke at Amelia's expense. "While he is a fine young man, we both agree that he is not suitable for you." Amelia's heart sank. She knew that her stepmother disapproved of William, but she had hoped that her father would support her choice. William was kind, intelligent, and shared her passion for social justice. They had spent countless hours discussing their dreams for the future, their shared values forming a strong foundation for their budding relationship. "But father," she began, her voice faltering, her hopes dashed against the wall of her stepmother's disapproval. "Your father trusts my judgment in these matters," Eleanor interrupted, her voice laced with authority, brooking no argument. "And I have someone much more suitable in mind for you." Amelia's confusion grew. She could not fathom who her stepmother could possibly deem a more suitable match than William. Her mind raced through the eligible bachelors of their social circle, but none seemed to fit the criteria that Eleanor would likely impose. "Who could that be?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper, a sense of dread creeping into her heart. Eleanor, with a flourish, gestured towards the window. Standing on the sidewalk outside, amidst the manicured hedges and blooming flower beds, was a raggedly dressed man, his face etched with hardship, a cardboard sign pleading for spare change. Amelia gasped, her eyes widening in disbelief, her stomach churning with a mixture of disgust and horror. "This is Thomas," Eleanor announced, her voice laced with a triumphant glee, as if she had just revealed a prized possession. "He is a man of simple means, but he has a good heart. I believe he would make a wonderful husband for you." Amelia was horrified. The thought of being forced to marry a beggar, a man who lived on the streets, was beyond comprehension. It was a cruel joke, a twisted attempt to humiliate her, to strip her of her dignity and social standing. "You can't be serious," she stammered, her voice trembling with indignation. "You want me to marry a beggar?" "It's for your own good, darling," Eleanor purred, her eyes gleaming with malicious satisfaction. "This will teach you a valuable lesson about humility and the importance of appreciating true character over superficial charm." Amelia, her spirit ignited with a fiery defiance, refused. "I will not marry him," she declared, her voice shaking with anger. "I love William, and I will not be forced into this farce." Eleanor's smile vanished, replaced by a mask of cold fury. Her eyes narrowed, her lips thinned, and her voice dripped with venom. "You will do as I say," she hissed, her words cutting through the air like daggers, "or you will face the consequences." Amelia, her heart pounding with a mixture of fear and determination, stood her ground. She would not be broken. She would not be humiliated. She would fight for her happiness, for her love, for her right to choose her own destiny. Eleanor, seeing the defiance in Amelia's eyes, decided to escalate her threats. She painted a grim picture of Amelia's future, a life of poverty and social ostracization if she refused to comply. She threatened to cut off her allowance, deny her access to her trust fund, and sever all ties with her. "You will be cast out," she hissed, her voice laced with malice. "You will be nothing, a nobody, a disgrace to the sterling name." Amelia, though shaken by her stepmother's threats, refused to yield. She would rather face poverty and social isolation than betray her own heart, her own values. She would not be a pawn in Eleanor's twisted game. "I would rather live in poverty than marry a man I do not love," she declared, her voice filled with conviction. "I will not be your puppet, Eleanor. I will make my own way in the world." Eleanor, her patience exhausted, her fury reaching its boiling point, stormed out of the study, leaving Amelia alone with her thoughts. The weight of her decision settled upon her, the uncertainty of the future looming large. But even in the face of adversity, Amelia felt a sense of liberation. She had finally stood up to her stepmother. She had refused to be manipulated. She had chosen her own path. As she stood there, contemplating her next move, a realization dawned upon her. She had always been sheltered, protected by her father's wealth and her privileged upbringing. But now, faced with the prospect of poverty, she felt a newfound strength, a determination to prove herself, to make her own way in the world. She would not let Eleanor break her. She would use this as an opportunity to grow, to learn, to discover her own strength and resilience. She would find a way to survive, to thrive, to create a life for herself that was truly her own. Amelia, true to her word, packed her belongings, each item a symbol of her past life, a life of privilege and comfort. She carefully folded her favorite dresses, tucked her cherished books into boxes, and wrapped her treasured artwork in protective cloth. Each item held memories, both happy and painful, but she refused to let them define her. She was leaving the Sterling mansion, not as a defeated outcast, but as a woman determined to forge her own path. She left a note for her father, her heart heavy with sadness but her resolve unwavering. She explained her reasons for leaving, her refusal to be manipulated by Eleanor, her desire to create a life of her own. She expressed her love for him, her hope that one day he would understand and forgive her. With a heavy heart and a suitcase in hand, she stepped out of the mansion, the imposing doors closing behind her like a finality. She walked away from the life she had always known, the life of luxury and privilege, into the unknown, the world outside the gilded cage. She found a small, sparsely furnished apartment in a modest neighborhood, a far cry from the opulent surroundings she was accustomed to. The walls were bare, the furniture worn, and the air carried the faint scent of dust and old cooking. But it was hers, a space she could call her own, a sanctuary where she could rebuild her life. With her limited resources, she secured a job as a waitress in a local diner, the Cozy Corner Cafe. The diner was a bustling hub of activity, a place where people from all walks of life gathered to share a meal and a moment of respite. The clatter of dishes, the sizzle of bacon on the griddle, and the chatter of customers filled the air, a symphony of everyday life that was both comforting and jarring to Amelia. The long hours, demanding customers, and meager wages were a harsh reality check, a far cry from the life of leisure she had known. Her feet ached, her hands were roughened by constant washing, and her patience was tested by the occasional rude customer. But Amelia faced each challenge with a quiet determination, her spirit unbroken. She found solace in her work, in the rhythm of taking orders, serving food, and clearing tables. She enjoyed the camaraderie of her fellow waitresses, their shared experiences forging a bond of friendship and support. She even found satisfaction in the simple act of providing a warm meal and a friendly smile to weary customers. In the evenings, after the diner closed and the streets grew quiet, Amelia reconnected with her passion for art. She spent hours sketching and painting, her creativity a source of solace and inspiration. The small apartment transformed into a studio, her canvases filled with vibrant colors and expressive strokes, her emotions finding an outlet in her art. She painted landscapes, portraits, and still lives, capturing the beauty of the world around her, the resilience of the human spirit, and the emotions that swirled within her. She poured her heart and soul into her art, each brushstroke a testament to her journey, her pain, and her newfound strength. She even managed to sell a few of her pieces at a local art fair, the small income a welcome boost to her meager finances. The recognition of her talent, the appreciation of her art, filled her with a sense of accomplishment, a validation of her worth beyond her family name and social standing. Despite the hardships, Amelia found a sense of fulfillment in her newfound independence. She was no longer defined by her father's wealth or her stepmother's manipulations. She was creating her own identity, forging her own path, and discovering her own strength. However, her defiance came at a cost. Her father, influenced by Eleanor's poisonous whispers, believed that Amelia had abandoned him, choosing a life of poverty over the comforts of his home. He felt betrayed, his love for his daughter tainted by resentment and misunderstanding. Eleanor, relishing in her victory, seized the opportunity to further isolate Amelia. She painted her as a rebellious, ungrateful child, a disgrace to the Sterling name. She ensured that Amelia was excluded from social gatherings, her reputation tarnished by her stepmother's malicious gossip. Amelia, though hurt by her father's rejection and the social ostracization, refused to let it break her. She focused on her work, her art, and the few loyal friends who stood by her, their support a beacon of light in the darkness. She also continued to volunteer at the homeless shelter, Her compassion for those less fortunate deepened by her own experiences. She found a sense of purpose in helping others, her kindness and empathy a source of strength and inspiration. She spent her days off at the shelter, serving meals, organizing clothing drives, and offering a listening ear to those who had lost everything. She found a sense of community among the residents, their shared struggles forging a bond of understanding and mutual support. Amelia's decision to leave the Sterling mansion and forge her own path had far-reaching consequences, rippling through her life and the lives of those around her. She had chosen independence and authenticity over comfort and conformity, a decision that would shape her destiny. Her newfound freedom came at a price. The loss of her father's love and support, the social ostracization, and the financial struggles weighed heavily on her. There were days when she doubted her decision, when the loneliness and uncertainty crept into her heart, threatening to extinguish her flame. But Amelia was made of sterner stuff. She refused to let the challenges break her spirit. She drew strength from her inner resilience, her passion for art, and the unwavering support of her true friends. She found solace in her work at the diner, the daily grind providing a sense of purpose and routine. The camaraderie of her fellow waitresses, their shared laughter and struggles, filled the void left by her social isolation. Her art became her refuge, a canvas on which she poured her emotions, her fears, and her hopes. Her paintings reflected her journey, the vibrant colors and bold strokes capturing her spirit, her resilience, and her refusal to be defined by her circumstances. She found a mentor in a local artist, a kind and eccentric woman named Beatrice who recognized Amelia's talent and nurtured her creativity. Beatrice's guidance and encouragement helped Amelia hone her skills, her art evolving and maturing with each passing day. Amelia's decision also had a profound impact on her father, Richard Sterling. He was torn between his love for his daughter and his loyalty to his wife. Eleanor's constant whispers of Amelia's ingratitude and rebelliousness poisoned his mind, creating a wedge between him and his daughter. He missed Amelia terribly, her absence a constant ache in his heart. He longed to reach out to her, to bridge the gap that had grown between them, but Eleanor's manipulative influence held him back. He struggled with guilt and self-reproach, questioning his own judgment, his own blindness to Eleanor's true nature. He had failed his daughter, allowing his love for Eleanor to cloud his judgment, to blind him to the pain he was inflicting on Amelia. Eleanor, on the other hand, reveled in her victory. She had successfully ostracized Amelia, tarnished her reputation, and solidified her own position as the undisputed mistress of the Sterling household. She held Richard captive in her web of manipulation, feeding his insecurities and fueling his resentment towards Amelia. She continued her campaign of social sabotage, spreading rumors about Amelia's supposed wild behavior and her association with the lower classes. She ensured that Amelia's name was removed from guest lists, her invitations rescinded, her presence unwelcome in the circles she once frequented. Amelia, though hurt by her father's rejection and the social ostracization, refused to let it define her. She focused on her own path, her own growth, her own happiness. She found strength in her independence, her resilience, and her refusal to be broken. She found solace in her art, her creativity a source of empowerment and self-expression. She found purpose in her work at the diner, her interactions with customers from all walks of life broadening her perspective and deepening her empathy. And she found community at the homeless shelter, her compassion for those less fortunate a source of fulfillment and connection. She realized that true wealth lay not in material possessions or social status, but in the richness of human connection, in the shared struggles and triumphs of life. Meanwhile, William Hawthorne, unaware of the turmoil in Amelia's life, grew increasingly concerned by her sudden disappearance. He had tried to contact her, but his calls went unanswered, his letters returned unopened. He refused to believe that she had simply abandoned him, his heart telling him that something was amiss. He remembered their last encounter, their shared laughter, their whispered promises of a future together. He recalled the spark in her eyes, the warmth of her touch, the undeniable connection they shared. He could not fathom her simply walking away from all that, from him. Determined to uncover the truth, William began to investigate Amelia's disappearance. He discreetly questioned her friends, seeking any clues that could lead him to her. He visited her favorite haunts, hoping to catch a glimpse of her, a sign that she was okay. He even visited the Sterling mansion, hoping to speak with Amelia's father, but was met with cold indifference from Eleanor. She greeted him with a forced smile, her eyes devoid of warmth, her words laced with veiled hostility. "William, how lovely to see you," she said, her voice dripping with insincerity. "Amelia is no longer here. She has chosen to leave her family and her responsibilities behind." William, sensing her deception, pressed for more information, but Eleanor remained evasive, her answers vague and dismissive. He left the mansion with a heavy heart, his suspicions confirmed, his determination to find Amelia strengthened. His persistence, however, paid off. He befriended one of the Sterling's maids, a kind and compassionate woman named Martha who had witnessed Eleanor's cruel treatment of Amelia. Martha, her conscience troubled by her silence, decided to confide in William, revealing the truth about Eleanor's machinations. She recounted Eleanor's plot to force Amelia into marrying a beggar, the threat of disinheritance, and Amelia's defiant departure. She described the emotional abuse Amelia had endured, the constant criticisms, the subtle manipulations, and the blatant attempts to undermine her confidence. William was enraged. He had always known that Eleanor disliked Amelia, but he had never imagined the depths of her cruelty. He vowed to find Amelia, to protect her from her stepmother's machinations, and to reclaim the love they had shared. Armed with this newfound knowledge, William intensified his search. He followed every lead, every whisper, every rumor, his determination fueled by his love for Amelia. He scoured the city, his heart filled with a mixture of hope and fear, his every thought consumed by the woman he loved. His search led him to the art fair where Amelia had sold her paintings. He recognized her unique style, the vibrant colors and expressive strokes that captured her essence. He inquired about the artist, his heart pounding with anticipation. The stall owner, impressed by William's genuine interest, provided him with Amelia's address. William, his heart filled with a mixture of relief and excitement, rushed towards the address, eager to reunite with the woman who had captured his heart. He imagined their reunion, the joy in her eyes, the warmth of her embrace. He longed to hold her, to comfort her, to assure her that she was not alone, that he would always be there for her. He arrived at her modest apartment building, his heart pounding with a mixture of anticipation and apprehension. He climbed the stairs, his footsteps echoing in the quiet hallway, until he reached her door. He hesitated for a moment, unsure of how she would react to his sudden appearance. He raised his hand to knock, but before he could, the door swung open, revealing Amelia, her face etched with surprise. Her eyes widened in disbelief as she recognized the man standing before her, the man she had thought she had lost forever. "William?" she gasped, her voice barely above a whisper, her eyes widening in disbelief. "Amelia!" he exclaimed, his face breaking into a wide smile, relief washing over him like a tidal wave. He reached for her, pulling her into a warm embrace, his arms enfolding her protectively. Amelia, overwhelmed by emotion, clung to him, tears streaming down her face. She had missed him terribly, his absence a constant ache in her heart. Now, feeling his warmth, his strength, she felt a sense of relief wash over her, a sense of homecoming. The world, which had seemed so harsh and unforgiving, suddenly felt a little brighter, a little safer. They stepped inside her small apartment, the cramped space a stark contrast to the grandeur of the Sterling mansion. But in that moment, surrounded by Amelia's artwork, her spirit reflected in every brushstroke. William felt a sense of intimacy he had never experienced before. The apartment, though humble, was filled with Amelia's essence, her creativity, and her resilience. They sat down on the worn sofa, their hands intertwined, their eyes locked in a silent conversation. William recounted his search for her, the frustration and worry that had consumed him, his anger at Eleanor's deception, and his unwavering love for Amelia. He described his visits to her friends, his conversations with the maid, his confrontation with Eleanor. He spoke of his determination to find her, to protect her, to ensure that she was never again subjected to her stepmother's cruelty. Amelia, in turn, shared her experiences, the hardships she had faced, the strength she had discovered, and the unwavering support she had received from her friends and the people at the homeless shelter. She spoke of the challenges of adjusting to a life of poverty, the long hours at the diner, and the social isolation she had endured. But she also spoke of the fulfillment she found in her work, the joy of creating art, and the sense of purpose she discovered in helping others. She described the camaraderie of her fellow waitresses, the kindness of strangers, and the resilience of the homeless community. As they spoke, their bond deepened, their love strengthened by the trials they had endured. They realized that their connection transcended social status and material wealth, their love rooted in a shared understanding, mutual respect, and unwavering support. William, his heart filled with admiration for Amelia's resilience, vowed to protect her from her stepmother's further manipulations. He promised to stand by her, to support her dreams, and to help her reclaim her rightful place in society. He would use his family's influence and resources to ensure that Eleanor could no longer harm her, that she would be free to live her life on her own terms. Amelia, touched by his unwavering love and support, felt a renewed sense of hope. She realized that she was not alone, that she had found a true partner in William, a man who loved her for who she was, not for her family name or her social standing. Their reunion marked a turning point in their relationship. They emerged from the shadows of Eleanor's deceit, their love stronger and more resilient than ever before. They were ready to face the future together, hand in hand, their love a beacon of light guiding them through the darkness. They spent the next few days together, catching up on lost time, sharing their dreams and fears, and reaffirming their love for each other. They explored the city together, discovering hidden cafes, art galleries, and quiet parks. They rediscovered the joy of each other's company, their laughter filling the small apartment, their love illuminating the once dreary space. William insisted on helping Amelia financially, offering to pay her rent and provide for her needs. But Amelia, proud and independent, refused his charity. She wanted to make her own way, to prove to herself and to the world that she was capable of supporting herself. William respected her decision, admiring her strength and determination. He offered her a different kind of support, using his connections to help her promote her art and secure exhibitions. He believed in her talent, her unique vision, and her ability to make a name for herself in the art world. Together, they planned their future, a future free from Eleanor's influence, a future filled with love, creativity, and shared purpose. They envisioned a life where they could use their privilege and resources to help others, to make a positive impact on the world. Their reunion was not just a rekindling of their romance, but a forging of a partnership, a shared commitment to support each other's dreams and face the challenges ahead together. They were no longer just lovers, but allies, confidants, and partners in life. News of Amelia's whereabouts reached Eleanor through the grapevine of high society gossip. A casual mention at a charity luncheon, a whispered conversation overheard at the opera, and the information found its way back to the Sterling mansion, igniting Eleanor's fury. Enraged by their defiance, by Amelia's refusal to be broken and William's interference in her plans, she decided to confront them, to unleash her wrath and assert her dominance. She would not allow them to escape her grasp, to live their lives on their own terms. She stormed into Amelia's apartment, her face contorted with rage, her voice dripping with venom. "You ungrateful brat!" she shrieked, her eyes blazing with fury, her designer heels clicking angrily on the worn floorboards. "How dare you defy me and run off with this penniless boy?" William, sensing the danger, stepped forward, shielding Amelia from her stepmother's wrath. "Eleanor," he said, his voice calm but firm, his eyes unwavering, "your reign of terror is over. Amelia is not your pawn, and I will not stand by and watch you abuse her any longer." Eleanor scoffed, her lips curling into a sneer, her perfectly manicured nails digging into her palms. "And what do you intend to do, you insignificant whelp?" she retorted, her voice laced with contempt. "You have no power, no influence, no money. You are nothing but a nuisance, a fly to be swatted away." William, his patience wearing thin, decided to reveal the truth he had uncovered. "You seem to forget, Eleanor," he said, his voice laced with a hint of amusement, "that I am not without resources. I am well aware of your schemes, your manipulations, your attempts to destroy Amelia's reputation and force her into a marriage of convenience." Eleanor's eyes widened in surprise, her composure momentarily shaken. "What are you talking about?" she stammered, her voice faltering, a flicker of fear crossing her eyes. "I know about your plan to force Amelia to marry Thomas, the beggar," William continued, his voice gaining strength, his words like hammer blows against Eleanor's carefully constructed facade. "I know about your threats of disinheritance, your malicious gossip, your attempts to isolate Amelia from her friends and family." He detailed the information he had gathered from Martha, the maid, outlining Eleanor's every move, exposing her lies and manipulations. He described the scene at the art fair, his discovery of Amelia's whereabouts, and his determination to protect her. Eleanor, her face pale with shock, tried to deny the accusations, to weave a web of lies and excuses, but William silenced her with a wave of his hand. "Don't bother denying it, Eleanor," he said, his voice filled with disgust. "Your maid has already confessed everything. I have witnesses, evidence, and the full support of my family." He revealed his plan to expose her to the world, to reveal her true nature to society, to strip her of the power and prestige she so desperately craved. He would ensure that she could no longer manipulate or harm Amelia, that her reign of terror would be brought to an end. Eleanor, her facade crumbling, her power slipping away, collapsed onto a nearby chair, her face etched with defeat. She had underestimated William, his determination, and his resourcefulness. She had lost, her reign of terror brought to an end by the very people she had sought to destroy. The air in the small apartment crackled with tension, the silence broken only by Eleanor's ragged breathing and the ticking of the clock on the wall. Amelia, watching the scene unfold, felt a mix of emotions: anger, satisfaction, and a touch of pity for the woman who had caused her so much pain. But she also felt a sense of empowerment, a newfound strength born from her defiance and William's unwavering support. She was no longer a victim, but a survivor, a woman who had faced adversity and emerged stronger. Eleanor, realizing the extent of her defeat, rose from her chair, her shoulders slumped, her eyes devoid of their usual fire. She looked at Amelia, her face etched with a mixture of regret and resentment. "You have won this round, Amelia," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "But the game is not over. I will not forget this humiliation, and I will have my revenge." With a final glare, she turned and left the apartment, her footsteps heavy and defeated. The door closed behind her, leaving Amelia and William alone, the silence filled with the echoes of her threats and the weight of their victory. The confrontation with Eleanor left Amelia and William with a mix of relief and apprehension. They had faced their adversary, exposed her lies, and emerged victorious. But they knew that Eleanor was not one to accept defeat gracefully. Her parting words, laced with venom and a promise of revenge, hung heavy in the air. They discussed their next steps, their voices hushed, their minds racing with possibilities. They knew they couldn't simply ignore Eleanor's threats, but they also didn't want to live in fear, their lives dictated by her malice. William, ever the protector, suggested they seek legal counsel to explore their options and protect themselves from any further actions Eleanor might take. He contacted his family lawyer, a shrewd and experienced man named Mr. Harrington, who agreed to meet with them immediately. Mr. Harrington listened intently as they recounted their ordeal, his brow furrowed in concern. He reviewed the evidence they had gathered, the testimonies from witnesses, and the documentation of Eleanor's financial threats. "This is a serious matter," he said, his voice grave. Eleanor's actions constitute emotional abuse and financial coercion. We can pursue legal action to protect Amelia and ensure that she is not further harmed. He outlined their options, explaining the possibility of obtaining a restraining order against Eleanor, securing Amelia's financial independence, and even pursuing criminal charges for her manipulative behavior. Amelia, though hesitant at first, agreed to pursue legal action. She realized that it was the only way to protect herself and ensure that Eleanor could no longer control her life. She was no longer the timid girl who had cowered under her stepmother's tyranny. She was a woman who had found her voice, her strength, and her determination to fight for her own happiness. William stood by her side, his support unwavering. He assured her that they would face this challenge together, that he would use all his resources and influence to protect her. He admired her courage, her resilience, and her refusal to be broken. The legal proceedings were lengthy and arduous, filled with emotional testimonies, legal maneuvering, and tense courtroom confrontations. Eleanor, represented by a high-powered attorney, fought tooth and nail, denying the accusations and attempting to discredit Amelia and William. But the truth prevailed. The evidence against Eleanor was overwhelming, her lies and manipulations exposed for all to see. The judge ruled in Amelia's favor, granting her a restraining order against Eleanor, securing her financial independence, and ordering Eleanor to pay restitution for the emotional distress she had caused. The court's decision was a resounding victory for Amelia and William. They had faced their adversary in the arena of justice and emerged triumphant. Eleanor's reign of terror was officially over, her power and influence diminished, her reputation tarnished. The news of Eleanor's downfall spread like wildfire through high society. Her once admired social standing crumbled, her invitations rescinded, her name whispered with disdain. She was ostracized by her peers, her social circle shrinking to a handful of sycophants who clung to her dwindling wealth. Richard Sterling, finally realizing the extent of Eleanor's manipulations, was heartbroken and ashamed. He had been blinded by his love for her, his judgment clouded by her lies. He had failed his daughter, allowing Eleanor to poison his mind and drive a wedge between them. He sought out Amelia, his heart heavy with regret. He apologized profusely, begging for her forgiveness and vowing to make amends for his neglect. He acknowledged his blindness, his weakness, and his failure as a father. Amelia, though hurt by her father's past blindness, found it in her heart to forgive him. She understood that he had been a victim of Eleanor's manipulations, his love for her clouding his judgment. She welcomed him back into her life, their relationship rebuilt on a foundation of honesty and trust. Eleanor, facing the consequences of her actions, was left alone and isolated. Her wealth and social status could not shield her from the scorn and condemnation of those she had wronged. She had lost everything, her ambition and cruelty ultimately leading to her downfall. She retreated to her mansion, a shell of her former self. The once vibrant socialite became a recluse, her days spent brooding over her lost power and plotting her revenge. But her schemes were futile, her influence waning, her threats falling on deaf ears. The world had moved on, leaving Eleanor behind, a bitter and lonely figure, a cautionary tale of ambition and cruelty. With Eleanor's reign of terror brought to an end, Amelia and William were free to pursue their own happiness. They rekindled their romance, their love blossoming anew in the absence of Eleanor's interference. Their bond, strengthened by their shared ordeal, deepened into a profound connection, a love built on mutual respect, trust, and unwavering support. William, true to his word, supported Amelia's dreams, encouraging her artistic pursuits and helping her gain recognition for her talent. He used his family's connections to introduce her to influential figures in the art world, opening doors that had previously been closed to her. He arranged exhibitions for her work, secured commissions from wealthy patrons, and facilitated collaborations with renowned artists. He believed in her talent, her unique vision, and her ability to make a significant contribution to the art world. Amelia's career flourished, her paintings exhibited in prestigious galleries, her talent celebrated by critics and collectors alike. She found fulfillment in her art, her creativity a source of joy and inspiration. Her paintings reflected her journey, her resilience, and her newfound freedom. She also continued her work at the homeless shelter, her compassion for those less fortunate deepened by her own experiences. She became an advocate for social justice, using her platform to raise awareness about poverty and homelessness. She organized fundraisers, volunteered her time, and spoke out against the injustices she witnessed. She used her art to raise awareness, her paintings depicting the struggles and resilience of the homeless community, her voice amplifying their stories. William, inspired by Amelia's compassion and dedication, joined her in her philanthropic endeavors. They worked together to improve the lives of others, their shared passion for social justice strengthening their bond and bringing new meaning to their lives. They established a foundation to support homeless shelters and provide resources for those in need. They funded educational programs, job training initiatives, and affordable housing projects. They used their privilege and resources to make a tangible difference in the lives of those less fortunate. They also found happiness in their personal lives, their love for each other a constant source of strength and support. They married in a small, intimate ceremony, surrounded by their closest friends and family. Their wedding was a celebration of their love, their resilience, and their shared commitment to making the world a better place. They exchanged vows, promising to love and cherish each other, to support each other's dreams, and to face the challenges ahead together. Their life together was filled with love, laughter, and a shared commitment to making the world a better place. They had overcome adversity, their love triumphant over deceit and cruelty. They had found their own happiness, their own purpose, and their own definition of success. They traveled the world together, experiencing different cultures, exploring new horizons, and expanding their perspectives. They continued to pursue their passions, Amelia with her art and William with his philanthropic work, their individual pursuits complementing and enriching their shared life. They built a home filled with warmth, laughter, and love, a sanctuary where they could recharge and reconnect. They welcomed friends and family into their lives, creating a community of support and shared values. They also found joy in the simple things, in quiet evenings spent reading together, in walks through the park, in shared meals with loved ones. They cherished each moment, grateful for the happiness they had found, the love they shared, and the life they had built together. Years passed, and Amelia and William's lives continued to evolve, their characters shaped by their experiences, their love deepened by time and shared purpose. They had both grown through their journey, their individual strengths complementing and enhancing each other. Amelia, once a sheltered young woman, had blossomed into a strong, independent, and compassionate individual. She had discovered her own strength, her resilience forged in the fires of adversity. She had learned to trust her own judgment, to stand up for what she believed in, and to fight for her own happiness. She had also learned the importance of forgiveness, letting go of the resentment she held towards her father and Eleanor. She realized that forgiveness was not about condoning their actions, but about freeing herself from the bitterness that could poison her own heart. She forgave her father for his blindness, his weakness, and his failure to protect her from Eleanor's manipulations. She understood that he had been a victim as well, his love for Eleanor clouding his judgment. She even found a measure of forgiveness for Eleanor, recognizing the pain and insecurity that fueled her cruelty. She pitied her stepmother, her life a testament to the destructive power of ambition and bitterness. William, once a carefree young man, had matured into a responsible, compassionate, and supportive partner. He had learned the true meaning of love, standing by Amelia through thick and thin, protecting her from harm and encouraging her dreams. He had also learned the importance of fighting for justice, using his privilege and influence to expose Eleanor's cruelty and protect others from her manipulations. He had discovered a sense of purpose in helping others, his compassion and empathy guiding his actions. Together, they had faced adversity and emerged stronger, their love a testament to the enduring power of the human spirit. They had learned to trust each other, to support each other's dreams, and to face the future with hope and optimism. They often reflected on the challenges they had overcome, the lessons they had learned, and the growth they had experienced. They were grateful for the journey that had brought them together, their love a beacon of light guiding them through the darkness. They looked back on their ordeal with a sense of gratitude, recognizing that it had shaped them into the people they were today. They had learned the true meaning of love, the importance of forgiveness, and the power of human connection. They had also learned the value of resilience, the strength that comes from facing adversity and emerging stronger on the other side. They had discovered that true happiness lies not in material wealth or social status, but in the richness of human connection, in the shared struggles and triumphs of life. They were grateful for the friends and family who had supported them through their journey, their love and loyalty a constant source of strength. They were grateful for the opportunities they had been given, the chance to use their privilege and resources to make a positive impact on the world. And they were grateful for each other, their love a testament to the enduring power of the human spirit, a beacon of hope in a world that often seemed dark and unforgiving. The story of Amelia and William is a testament to the triumph of love over adversity. It highlights the importance of resilience, forgiveness, and the enduring power of the human spirit. It is a story of courage, compassion, and the unwavering pursuit of happiness. Amelia's defiance of her stepmother's manipulations and her journey towards independence exemplify the strength and courage it takes to forge one's own path. She refused to be defined by her circumstances, her spirit unbroken by the challenges she faced. William's unwavering love and support demonstrate the power of true partnership, the unwavering commitment to stand by one another through thick and thin. He was Amelia's rock, her protector, and her champion, his love a constant source of strength and encouragement. Their story reminds us that even in the face of deceit and cruelty, love can prevail. It underscores the importance of staying true to oneself, fighting for one's happiness, and finding strength in adversity. It also highlights the importance of forgiveness, not as a condoning of wrongdoing, but as a way to free oneself from the bitterness that can poison the heart. Amelia's forgiveness of her father and Eleanor allowed her to move forward, to embrace happiness and find peace. Through their journey, Amelia and William discovered the true meaning of love, the importance of forgiveness, and the power of human connection. They learned to rely on each other, to support each other's dreams, and to face the challenges ahead together. Their story serves as an inspiration, reminding us that even in the darkest of times, there is always hope, and that love, resilience, and compassion can ultimately triumph over adversity. It is a story that celebrates the human spirit, the power of love, and the enduring strength of those who refuse to be broken. It is a story that reminds us that true happiness lies not in material wealth or social status, but in the richness of human connection, in the shared struggles and triumphs of life. It is a story that encourages us to embrace our individuality, to fight for our dreams, and to find strength in adversity. And it is a story that reminds us that love, compassion, and forgiveness can heal even the deepest wounds, guiding us towards a brighter future. A future filled with hope, happiness, and the enduring power of the human spirit.